Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Earl Hall Show. My guest today is Kendall Breitman. She's the community manager of Riverside.fm. You'll see how much I love it. The go-to platform for podcasters and creators with a background in political reporting and TV production. Kendall now empowers thousands of creators to connect, grow, and thrive. Kendall, welcome to the Earl Hall Show. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show.
Well, awesome. It is definitely my honor. Looking at your role as community manager for Riverside, I think one of the questions I'd like to start with, because for those that don't know, this is a podcasting platform. It's the podcasting platform we are on right now, doing what it is that we're doing. So you'll see the magic of this as well. What is probably maybe the top two questions out of your community that you continue to get over and over, that people kind of want to know more about, need help with, things like that?
So I would say that number one is how to grow, like how to grow their audience, how to grow their show. Growth can also mean like, how do I step up my studio? But mainly, like people are looking to grow and get in front of more people and expand their audience. Number two, I would say is monetize because podcasting can be something that costs a lot, especially if you are like an audio video nerd that like really want to get a crazy mic and a crazy camera. And a lot of these podcasters, like the ones that you hear about that are getting these $1 million contracts, like that's not the norm. And so a lot of people are self-funding and want to be able to monetize and make some money off of it, or at least break even. So I'd say those, top of my head, top two, definitely requests from
Well,
people.
definitely. And those were questions I've always had. Definitely,
Mhm.
you can't monetize if you can't grow. So let's kind
Exactly.
of,
One leads to the other. One leads
one
to the
does
other.
definitely lead to the other. And there's obviously so many different types of ways that a person can truly monetize what it is that they're doing with their podcast. But it seems to almost be, in my opinion, and what I've seen, people go into podcasting without a real plan. Do you
Mhm.
kind of see that as part of the issue?
Oh yeah. A lot of people go into podcasting kind of just like, I want to talk about this topic, which is great and so genuine. And I think that our community needs that. Like, I think that if we were overflowed with people that are like, I want a podcast to get something else out of it, we do have that. And it's great to want to get something out of it. But I like that sometimes people just go into it just genuinely wanting to have these conversations. I think that it keeps podcasting what I think that it should be, which is like these really insightful, wonderful, engaging conversations. That being said, to have a plan can make your conversations more engaging because you know who you're talking to, what you want to talk about. I think it's about a balance for sure.
Absolutely. One of the things that I teach even in my consulting about podcasting is I don't know too many people that can't have a podcast around something that, one, if they enjoy, and two, that they can make money from. And when you look at it, and I love what you said in your perspective about, okay, if you genuinely love talking about this topic, then great. But I think that's one of the things that may cause some people to stop because, well, I'm not making any money. I'm not, I'm not getting the clicks, right? I'm not getting the views. I'm not getting the likes. What are maybe some of the things, maybe one or two, that you suggest to people in your community? And we're going to have that community link for people to be able to look at and join if possible. But what is some of the advice that you give to people? Okay, if this is your goal, this is how you can grow.
So I would say that, first of all, for entrepreneurs especially, you need to understand that podcasting is a long game. Like, if you are podcasting to grow your business or as a funnel to your business, if part of that is because you want to position yourself as a thought leader, that takes time. That takes having conversations with other thought leaders. So there isn't like, I really love when companies are putting a lot of weight behind podcasts because they know that it's a long term bet and they know that it's something that is going to pay off with the conversations they have and like the real strong leads that'll come in from it. But it's not going to be something that you post one episode and my gosh, suddenly the leads are flooding in. You know what I mean? I would say that that's definitely one piece of advice that I would give is to like know that this is something that you need to anticipate will grow over time. But I'll also say that like a fast growth fast. I'm going to put that in quotes because there is no real fast growth. But the a really tried and true method, I would say, is a lot of people when they're trying to grow their podcasts are going to social media, and I get that. But I think the better route is to go on other people's podcasts because on social media, people are scrolling, they're scrolling through their content. It's hard to break them from Instagram to, okay, now I'm going to stop scrolling and listen to a podcast. Like they're not in that mode at that point. They might not be. Maybe you catch them on on a bus in a commute or something, but most of the time they're not going to be in that mode. If you go on other people's podcasts that are the same kind of topic, genre, kind of broach on your topic, and you introduce them to your voice, the way you present information, that is what is more likely for somebody who's already listening to podcasts, a verified listener to that topic, to be like, wow, I want to hear more about their show, or I want to hear more about this person. That's how I've discovered like a lot of my podcasts is because I was listening to other ones.
And I think that that's a key point. And one of the things I think that people slip on, I used to slip on that myself. It's like, but actually getting on someone else's podcast will boost you up better than just trying to post on social media. And then the other problem that I see comes into that is that people are just posting, listen to my podcast. Right? It's like, that's all they're posting. It's like, but no one knows why they ought to be listening in the first place. Right?
Yes, yes. I actually, a community member from our Riverside community was talking about that there's this thing that he sees all the time with people saying, I'm so excited for my next episode. But like, no one cares. I mean, we care. We love you as the host. We want you to be excited and happy. But like, you need to tell your listeners why they should care. And I think that another important point is that when I'm saying, especially for business owners, when I'm saying that like you don't want to use social media to grow, I am going to give a caveat and say that what I think is really cool podcasting for businesses is that you can take that clip and put it on your social media. So there's a difference. Instead of saying, I want everyone to go to my podcast and that's why I post on social media, what you can do as a business is that you can make a podcast about the topic that you have a business on or something tangential that like that you can get very fun with it. And we can get into that if you want to. But use that and then make clips like if you interview your CEO, interview somebody that's on your marketing team, interview a client, and then clip that. And that is content that you can use on social media to funnel towards your business. So it's kind of the way that you think about the pyramid of content that you
Right.
can use podcasting as the base and then make a bunch of clips and use that for your social media calendar for the rest of the month from one recording.
Well, it's the hack, right? Because we know our own habits and we know attention spans. And so those clips, I mean, you can make the most viewed stuff that I get, quite honestly, is clips that I make that are under 15 seconds. Right. And it continues to drive the algorithm because now you get more watch time. You know, if you're coveting YouTube as I do as well, then you need that amount viewed to be higher. And then YouTube continues to show those over and over because it feels like people are interested in that. But in those clips, it's a reason why people need to watch the long format. And so we know that we're all addicted to the short format. So now let's just be the pusher and give the junkies what they want, basically.
Exactly. But also, if you think about it too, like if you're going to have, let's say, client testimonials, you're not going to be like, hey, client, let's jump on a call like for 15 seconds and create this clip. It comes from a larger conversation and it just takes one little nugget, one little clip. So that's what I also mean about like this funnel. I also find that shorts are what's going to bring in new viewers and you're going to get a flood of new viewers if something goes viral. But how many of those new viewers are actually like the people that you need to reach?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say bring in new people with your shorts, but continue to build that relationship with long form. Because when you look at analytics, short form gets the new people, long form gets returning visitors. And so long term is about building relationships where short form's kind of opening the door.
Absolutely. We're here today with Kendall Breitman. She's a social media manager for Riverside.fm. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Your content is drowning in an ocean of noise. While you're posting, Your competitors are converting. I've watched hundreds of business owners create content that gets ignored. Generic videos that don't speak to their audience. That's why I've spent 15 years perfecting the art of scroll-stopping promo videos, custom scripts, professional production, built to sell on every platform. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and even paid ads. Right now, get your own professionally crafted 30-second promo video for just $97. Custom script, fast turnaround, designed to convert. Don't let your brand get lost in the scroll. Click the link in the description and let's make your business impossible to ignore. Thanks so much for staying tuned. We're once again here with Kendall Breitman. She's the social media manager for Riverside.fm, which is actually, this whole production is done inside of Riverside FM. We're on this right now doing this podcast. Kendall, what was it that drew you to Riverside in the first place?
So I have a background, as you kind of teased in the beginning, in television and radio. And so I was kind of driven to Riverside because it's something that it's like a place where you can be creative when you work. And you also, as a community manager, I work with creatives. And I think like there's really no better community to manage and to work with because I get to just be with really cool, creative people all day and listen to them and talk with them on podcasts like yours. So that's really what drew me. But also, what drew me to Riverside kind of as a whole is I think that when you create a platform that allows you to record and edit, but in studio quality and high quality without needing a studio, like the multi-million-dollar studio, what that does is it means more people can record their stories. And when more people record their stories, it means that more people, like people listening or to any podcast, get to hear more stories, hear more diverse stories, hear different takes and different ideas. And so I think that a platform like Riverside just like opens up more people to get their voices out there. So that's kind of my philosophical reason for why I really love Riverside, because I'm, from being a journalist, I'm just very much a storyteller and story lover at heart, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, even from the perspective of not just using cameras like we're using, not just using mics like we're using. I mean, you can do this on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
which is utterly amazing right now. And so Riverside has taken away the roadblocks, right? Or even the excuses for, well, I don't have a, $1,000 camera. I don't have a $500, $1,000 microphone. It's like, even with, I'll get a little nerdy here for a minute, because I go so deep inside of Riverside, even how I construct my own podcast and the tools that you guys have available to make it super simple. What used to take me an hour takes me like 10, 15 minutes to accomplish in the editing format, from the text editor that also edits the video, from the backgrounds that you can put in, how you can make the short clips, as you were talking about before, from the podcast to be able to do that. And even like the workflow of not having to do as much as before. One of my little pet peeves, and I'll say this, is I look at podcasts and all you see is like two people on the screen for the whole duration.
Mm-hmm.
That one little feature where Riverside switches back and forth and I don't have to do it, except I'm telling you,
It's my
it's
favorite.
gold to me, right?
Yes, I completely agree with you. It's my favorite. It's the first button. It's called Smart Scenes. It's the first button. I think they might have changed it to be called Smart Layouts. So anyway, that's besides the point. It's the first button that I click every time that I edit. I love it. I agree with you. And if
And
that's you
even the
nerding out,
ability.
like, feel free to continue to do so for the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, it's being done. Most
Yeah.
definitely. As soon as it's going to be done. Most definitely. Even the point about adding in images, adding in videos, adding in audio or music and all of that. The construction process is really easy. And one of the ways that I even use the clips from Riverside, I might set it for like 30 seconds, like to do the clips. And even with that, what I'll be doing in the next season of the Earl Hall Show is putting those teaser clips at the beginning of the
Yes.
show, right?
Yes.
It's
I
like,
love that.
yeah,
It's
I
called a
mean, because
cold
if you can't
open,
hook
right?
them, you're not going to have them watch the whole show.
Exactly. I speak in TV terms still, and we call it a cold open on TV. That like you kind of do before you play the intro, you have like a little bit of like a teaser or something that you say. And those like I'm a sucker for a cold open. So yes, definitely.
Absolutely. And by the way, you can use those, especially if you upload to YouTube early. You can have that trailer play before that show airs that's coming up. So
Exactly.
it's all these little things here. The technical side of Riverside, which has become for me, as especially as a user over and over pretty much every day, the that user experience, what are they talking about in the community as far as what they love, or maybe even like what they'd like to see?
Mhm. So I think that a lot of people are like you, and they are like when you're making a podcast, like there are very few people that that's their full-time job. So they are creating on top of, maybe it's part of their full-time job that they're doing it to get leads. But for a lot of people, it's on top of something that they're doing 9 to 5. And then they come home and they do their podcast, and it's just like daily grind and hustle. And so I think that what people are wanting is, and I know what people are wanting, is that they want things to work faster. Like they like, for example, that one-click tool that switches the scenes for them. But I think that what's really important at Riverside, and I think that what we should keep in mind as all podcasters and podcast platforms, is that while they want these AI tools like that make things faster, it's also like about having control as a creator. I always joke that I don't want AI to do my creative processes so I have more time to do the dishes. I want AI to do the dishes so that I have more time to do my creative processes, you know? So it's great to have these one click solutions, but it's also about being able to, okay, you made scenes for me, but I want to be able to switch those scenes. Like I want something to look exactly how I want it to look, but maybe it could go a bit faster with the one click tool. You know what I mean?
It's, I mean, the community, obviously, I would feel like it's something that just continues to grow and grow. And you being at the helm of that is a big part of this. When you look at this community and how it's growing, what is the impressive thing to you about the people that are coming into the community?
Ooh, so I think because I came from journalism, when I first started, I was like, oh, why do people want to join community? It's because they want to network. Because that's where I'm, like, my background, and it's less about information sharing. If I'm a journalist, I'm not going to tell you how I do what I do. That's how I make my living. When I joined this community, I was so when I started managing this community, I was so surprised, like pleasantly surprised by the fact that everyone is really giving and sharing, and you can ask somebody like, "Hey, I thought you sounded great in your last episode." And they'll be like, "Here's a link to the mic I use." Like it's such a helpful community. It's very hard in other industries to find this idea that we all succeed and we all lift each other up. Like how many industries does that really happen in? But it's truly there, like, in the podcast and creator community for sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I've been a big fan of Riverside FM for over a year now. It is my go to, not just for podcasting, but for live streaming as well, which we actually didn't get into, but you can actually use Riverside to live stream. And you don't even, you can live stream to all your different platforms, but you can also live stream inside of Riverside and just send
Hmm.
that link out. That's probably a topic for the next interview that we do with that. But there, I mean, checking out Riverside, and there's going to be links in the description. You can grab that. Also, I mean, Kendall, what's the best way for folks to get in contact with you and, you know, potentially join the community and things of that for Riverside?
Yeah, so I will be sending you the links for our community, but you can find us as Conversation Creators by Riverside on Facebook. And we also have a Discord server. But you can find me, myself, not only in those communities, which I'm there all of the time, but in our and on LinkedIn.
Awesome. That's how we connected. Actually, was on
Yeah,
LinkedIn, as I
exactly.
recall. So LinkedIn works.
It does. Slide into those DMs, people. It works.
Absolutely. Well, Kendall, thank you for being so gracious as to be on the Earl Hall Show with us today. Definitely appreciate it. And hopefully, we'll be talking again at some point as well. More about Riverside.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
You're more than welcome. And for all of you listeners and watchers, thank you for viewing this episode of The Earl Hall Show. Make sure you check the links in the description, click those. And for anyone that wants to know how to podcast, what to podcast with, and how to grow and monetize it, you better join the community and you better get Riverside. So
You
until next
gotta.
time, I'll see all of you guys on the next episode of The Earl Hall Show. Thanks for being here.